A midlife crisis is more than just a cultural stereotype. It's a real psychological struggle that can surface between the ages of 40 and 60. Often triggered by aging, loss, or unmet expectations, it can actually lead individuals to question their identity, make impulsive choices, or abruptly abandon long term commitments. While not officially classified yet as a mental illness, the emotional and relational fallout is very real, especially for the spouses and families left behind. This podcast gives voice to those living through the aftermath, exposing the hidden pain, and seeking accountability, healing, and understanding. Thank you for joining us today on MLC Bomb Drop and Beyond. Hey guys, have you ever looked at your husband or your wife a few months after the bomb drop and thought, oh my gosh, who are you? And not because they're with somebody else and doing totally different things and they've lost their mind, but because they suddenly dress differently, listen to different music, they're eating different, using different words, maybe even different political opinions, totally different hobbies, different morals, different friends. Their values have changed. Even their laugh may seem eerily different. It's like your spouse has died and someone else has climbed into their skin. So today we're going to talk about that because it is absolutely crazy. So, one of the most common things I hear is stuff like, oh, my husband never liked country music before, but now he wears cowboy boots and hats. He used to hate motorcycles. Now he's got three. He never wanted tattoos. Now he's got a bunch of them. He never drank. And now every weekend is one big party, or vice versa. And then the wives who used to hate camping, now living in a camper. It's astonishing. Sometimes even the children say, oh my gosh, mom or dad, they're just not the same anymore. Here's the deal. It usually isn't about country music or tattoos or motorcycles or yoga or CrossFit or veganism or crystals. All that stuff, you guys, those are simply symbols. They're pieces of a brand new identity. And many people in midlife aren't simply running from their marriage, they're running from themselves. The old identity feels so heavy. Responsibilities, bills, parenting, aging, regret, lost dreams, career disappointments, mortality. Instead of asking, how do I heal? They ask, who can I become? Think about it. Imagine you've spent 25 years feeling ordinary. Then someone new enters your life. They admire you, they flirt with you, they tell you stuff like you're amazing, you deserve so much more, you've been trapped. You never really lived. And suddenly, you're not a 55-year-old accountant. You're now a biker, an adventurer, a beach lover, a traveler, a free spirit, a musician, a world explorer. Whatever identity the fair partner represents becomes the identity that the spouse desperately wants to borrow. And here's something else. Many people don't actually have a stable sense of self. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as identity diffusion or an unstable self concept. Instead of developing who they are from the inside, they build themselves from whoever they are attached to. Healthy people influence each other, but unhealthy attachment can become imitation. And you've probably heard the term mirroring. And, a lot of people do it a little. And when you're dating someone, you naturally sort of start liking some of the things that they enjoy, which is sort of normal. But in unhealthy relationships, mirroring becomes identity replacement. It's no longer, oh, I enjoy this too. It's more like, oh, this is who I am now. To the abandoned spouse, it honestly does feel like brainwashing. Yesterday, your husband loved family vacations, and today he says stuff like, I never liked having kids. Yesterday, he adored Christmas. Today, he refuses to celebrate. Before, he used to love your home and do all kinds of projects around it. Now he's like, oh, I hated that home. Well, did all that change? No, it didn't change. Most of it is just rewriting history. If the past has to be destroyed, then leaving feels justified. And we've talked about the affair partner before, like being a Band-Aid. Imagine a deep infected wound, and instead of cleaning it, Instead of getting stitches, instead of antibiotics, someone just slaps on the biggest Band-Aid they can find. And for a little while, it covers that gaping hole. It covers everything. The pain seems gone, but underneath, that wound is infected. The identity they borrow works exactly the same way. It hides the crisis, but it doesn't heal it. And have you noticed they become strangely defensive when you talk about the affair partner or the Band-Aid? Question the motorcycle and suddenly they're furious. Question the new girlfriend and they explode. Question their new lifestyle and they accuse you of being controlling. And why is that? Well, because if that identity cracks, they have to face the original wound. And here's something even stranger. Sometimes the affair partner doesn't have a stable identity either. And now you've got two people both borrowing from each other, each validating the other's fantasy, each of them reinforcing the other's escape. It becomes an emotional echo chamber until eventually real life catches up. Bills, illness, kids, jobs, family conflicts, because none of those things disappear forever. And one thing that everybody has said on here is, why do they become so mean? Well, because kindness belongs to the old identity. Compassion belongs to the spouse they used to be. If they begin acting like the loving husband or wife again, their new identity is going to collapse. Cruelty helps maintain distance. Don't take it personally. And that distance protects the fantasy. But you guys, borrowed identities usually don't last forever because you can't permanently live someone else's life. That would be pretty sad. Eventually, their real personality starts to come forward again. Sometimes they quietly rediscover themselves. Sometimes they crash. Sometimes they enter another relationship and become that person instead. And notice the pattern. It's never about the hobby. It's never about the clothes, and it's never about the music. It's about an identity that was never securely built in the first place. And if you're seeing this happen with your spouse, please know you cannot compete with a fantasy. You cannot outlove borrowed dopamine. You cannot reason someone out of an identity that they have chosen to escape into. But you can do something that they cannot, and that is you can build your own identity. And don't build it around being abandoned. Don't build it around waiting for them. And don't build it around rescuing them. You can now become fully yourself. While they're busy borrowing someone else's life, you get to rebuild your own. And that's a much stronger foundation. So if today's episode resonated with you, please remember this. When someone abandons who they are to become someone else, it doesn't necessarily mean they finally found themselves. Sometimes it means they've lost themselves. And no Band-Aid, no affair, no borrowed identity can heal a wound that only honest self-reflection can. So, until next time, this is MLC Bomb Drop and Beyond. And remember, stop chasing the blast. Step outside the blast radius. Let the wound that's no longer yours heal without you. While they're trying on someone else's identity, you have the opportunity to rediscover your own, and that's where real freedom begins. Thanks for joining us today on Bomb Drop and Beyond, and we'll see you soon on the next episode, which is our 100th episode. So look forward to that. See you guys. Hey guys, this is Trina, and I want to take a moment to speak directly to anyone who didn't choose the collapse, but is living with the aftermath. When a spouse enters midlife crisis, the damage doesn't unfold slowly. It happens like an explosion. One day you're living a shared life with your best friend, and the next moment, that person that you have trusted and loved for so many years has emotionally disappeared almost overnight, rewriting history, minimizing the damage, and running from the very family they helped build. Friends are confused. The story gets simplified, and the spouse left behind is often expected to handle it quietly, gracefully, all while absorbing the fallout all alone. After the bomb drop, a survival guide for the left behind spouse was written for you. This book doesn't offer platitudes or false hope. It names what others avoid. Inside, I will walk you through what is actually happening when someone runs from themselves, why chasing answers only deepens the wound, and how to stabilize your life after emotional abandonment. In this book, we talk about why these departures feel so sudden and destabilizing, because in fact, they are destabilizing, and why the spouse who stays is often blamed, erased, or silenced. Why saving yourself is not abandonment, and how to grieve someone who is still alive while finding your footing again. This book does not promise reconciliation. It offers you guys something more necessary at this time, and that is stability, dignity, and a way forward when someone else has chosen to run after the bomb drop. The Survival Guide for the Left Behind Spouse is available now on Amazon Kindle in both ebook and paperback. It's also available in audio version on Spotify. And if you're standing in the blast radius and wondering how to survive what you did not cause, this book was written for you. Hey, if you have a story you'd like to share with our listeners, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email mlcbombdrop@gmail.com. Again, that's mlcbombdrop@gmail.com. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon. The stories and events discussed in this podcast are for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered legal, medical, or professional advice. Any names, locations, or identifying details have been changed to protect privacy. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or real events are purely coincidental. The information presented on this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional advice. Always consult with a qualified expert regarding any decisions related to your specific situation. The views expressed by guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the host or the podcast creators.